All right, it is 3 o'clock, so we will go ahead and get started. Thank you all, commissioners, for being here. Hey, settle down, you troublemakers. All right, first thing on the agenda, we will determine if we have a quorum. Mr. Lawhorn, do we have a quorum?
We have 6 members present. We have a quorum.
All right, wonderful. We will move to the approval of minutes for June. Do we have any comments or questions from the commissioners? All right, does anyone want to motion to approve the minutes?
I motion to approve.
Can I get a second? Second? All right, all in favor? All right, perfect. Minutes are approved. All right, we will move to reports. I will start off. As you all may know, I took a kind of a summer break from my Ride the Roots series just because life and it's summertime. My plan is to bring that back in August. I am still figuring out what specific route I'm going to take, but I will make sure that you all are emailed, that Sarah emails you about a week prior as soon as I know what it is. The goal moving forward, again, would be that we would just have them right after these meetings so you all can hopefully plan that kind of into this chunk of time. I will say the last one we had in, I believe it was May, was South Knoxville, and it was very enlightening. I knew South Knoxville was one of the more geographically Appalachian parts of town. It's very hilly. I was surprised at how many of our bus stops are just poles on a hill. So again, it was eye-opening about just how much we have to do to, increase amenities and make sure that people get the best experience they can while, waiting on the bus. I also have some kind of other things that later in the year I hope to kind of bring before you all. Nothing necessarily official, just some kind of ideas I'm working on, kind of talking to Isaac about, talking to other folks about, of ways that we can kind of, brainstorm creative ways to, make transit better in the city, potentially bring those, before city council, or at least bring you all a resolution to approve. I know that Doug's not here, but next month, hopefully, Isaac was telling me we can get another update on the comprehensive plan, because again, that's something where if we want good transit, we have to have good land use and change those policies. So I'm hoping that we can, work as a board to, make known our desires for that in that process. But that's all I've got right now. Do any of the other commissioners have any comments? All right, hearing none, we will move on to staff, and we will start with Isaac.
Sorry, just a few updates. First, just want to highlight the downtown connector had its highest ridership, over 18,000 rides last month. I think that's amazing. I think it's going to continue as well. And we're up 39% year over year since making that route free starting in December. So it's taken huge strides from 5,000 to 6,000 per month last year. I also want to mention too that Doug is not able to attend the meeting this month. He is on vacation, but he has promised me that he will provide a What's Next Knoxville update at the August meeting with a 5 to 10 minute presentation on where we're at with the comprehensive plan for the city of Knoxville. So that concludes my updates.
I have a question, Isaac, just for the kind of the record. I feel like we've maybe discussed this in the past, but can you reinform us? Have there been any recent conversations, and what would it take as our urban core grows to re-examine kind of the footprint of the downtown connector, and if there's potential for it to, replicate? Because I know we have service in some of the areas, and that was kind of part of when we kind of removed the trolleys. We don't want to necessarily duplicate service, but as the downtown footprint expands, is there potential of expanding that up to Emory Place or across the river to Sevier Avenue, just to make it more convenient for these buses that maybe they're there, but they're only half hour or hour service right now?
Yeah, that's what we're looking at right now. Umar and I have talked even last month about, as the city grows, the downtown grows, what do we do with the downtown connector? As this board knows, we've made numerous different modifications to the downtown connector. I feel like just about every 3 months we're modifying something, and that is because our downtown is growing and different businesses are coming in. We made a huge modification once the stadium was done, even though we knew going into Kta Reimagined in 2024 that we're going to have to make that change. So yes, We are still planning on making modifications and looking at expanding the downtown connector, but trying to keep that frequency. And that's always the difficult part, is if you're trying to keep a 15-minute frequency, what area you're not going to be able to get to. Or do you have to add another bus, which again increases expenses for the route. So
Thank you for that. That actually does remind me, one of the things in regards to that, obviously, that has made the connector successful is because it's our only free route, right? And even though we all know our bus fares are not high, they're very affordable. It's not like the system is propped up by fares. They are not what are helping us keep the system alive. And so just to kind of put this nugget in your brain for later on, one of the ideas that I've been in conversation with both Isaac, I've talked to the mayor about it, but hopefully it'll get to a point where maybe later in this year we can have a resolution or try to officially bring something forth. Is I think it could benefit the system as a whole and help people experiment with the bus if they are, again, because it's not like $1 or $2 is for most people expensive, but it is still an extra step. Is that something that I have thought about, is potentially tying it to essentially having a fare-free First Friday and tying it to the downtown First Fridays, so that 12 times a year all buses for that First Friday would be fare free. So just to, wanted to plop that in your brain, is again ways that we as a board of, citizens who care about transit can think, how can we get people who might not otherwise ride the bus to ride the bus and to experience that. So those are the types of things that, I'm having conversation with, and that I'm hoping that we can, experiment with to see what does and doesn't work. Because clearly with the downtown connector, it has helped. So anyway, that's just another little fun nugget to think about. Okay, thank you, staff. We will move on now to new business.
yeah, our first new business item is the vote on the Title VI plan. I did provide to the board a list of summary of changes basically we made. We had Calyptus come in 2 months ago and give a presentation over the Title VI plan, items that needed to be changed, but really just highlighting all the areas that are and topics that are within the Title VI plan that every agency has to have adopted. But just to summarize, a few of the changes that we made, there was a summary of the public outreach and involvement activities undertaken in the last 3 years. That was on page 25. The language assistance plan update on page 32 for 37. Membership non-elected boards and commissions on page 39. And then the resolutions for, if the board approves this, would be on page 45. And then the CAT service standards and policies, those used to be standalone, and we added those into the Title VI plan. And then finally, the demographics and service profile maps. Those are just been updated. Those are typically a part of the Title VI plan that comes before the KTA board every 3 years. At this time, does the board have any questions regarding the Title VI plan?
I didn't have a question, but I did want to compliment you all on the list of public outreach that you did over the last 3 years. It's a lot, and that makes me very happy to know that y'all are getting out in the community. I only kind of briefly looked through the list, but can you remind me how often, if at all, do you all do education at, because there's obviously a lot of senior centers and a lot of low income housing. Do you also try to do stuff at local high schools and stuff for younger folks who might not have cars yet? Or?
We do. We're really ramping that up next month. Our marketing director or manager, Delana Kent, is going to be going to a lot of schools and talking about the Youth Freedom Pass program. We are trying to make some modifications to that. Right now, we're on the honor system of if you're 18 years or younger living in Knoxville, you get to ride our buses for free, and you just have to tell the driver that you're a student. We really like to put some better parameters around that and actually give them either using the mobile ticketing app or actual smart card. That way we know for sure it's not just the honor system anymore. But we're going to be doing a lot of education, especially in the high schools, middle schools, in the core of Knoxville, where we know riders, kids, children are riding our buses. So
Any questions? Any other questions, comments?
Just a quick question. I know we must approve this, but beyond that, there's nothing else that happens. We just have it available as
Yes.
needed.
So what happens is we post the update onto our website. Anybody can go review that, look at that. Obviously, along with the Title VI plan, we also have it all posted. What is your rights under the Title VI plan in all of our buses? There's a poster as you get up on the bus. In the flyer racks, there's basically information. If you feel like your rights have been violated, this is where you file a complaint. So, but this is the formal process of that. And then on our end, the back end, we also submit it to the Federal Transit Administration as well, and they have to review it.
And remind me, Isaac, for this, is it just similar to any other thing? If we need a first, a second, and then a vote? Okay. If there's no other comments or questions, does anyone want to make the motion to approve the Title VI analysis plan?
I'll move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those voting in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Great, all right, motion passes. Thank you, commissioners. We will move to the second part of new business, the Route 12 modification.
Yes, last month we talked about the Route 12 being on a detour, and we want to make that detour permanent by making this route modification. UMAR and Quinton did look at the Title VI analysis. It is not needed in terms of a public hearing. It doesn't meet the major service improvements or route modifications. So we did not provide that Title VI analysis because it's not needed. But UMAR, do you want to talk about the route modification? I don't believe everyone was here last month when we did talk about that.
Yes, the Route 12 modification is primarily moving from Cumberland and 17th, going over outbound and inbound, and moving over to Hall of Fame, Summit Hill, Western Avenue, and continue to regular route, outbound and inbound. We will potentially add a few more stops in that corridor around 11th Street to serve the Fort area, as well as probably near Dedrick and the Blood Bank Medic to better serve our passengers as well. It was about 13% change, and that was primarily in mileage, not service hours. So that's why I really didn't meet the 25% threshold for a major service change.
And just remind us all, if I remember right from the last meeting, in moving this, because it ran on, I think it was also the Route 17, we're not actually removing any stops. So even though we're moving the route a bit, no one would lose their stop. They might have to get on the 17 or whatever instead, but no stops would be lost, correct?
On the 15.
Oh, yeah, but I mean,
They just
but by
transferred
moving
to the 15.
by moving the 12, no stops are lost.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've also been running this detour since May of this year. So again, we have been running it for over 2 months now. We want to make it permanent due to that.
Any questions or comments, commissioners? No?
I had a question, but not specifically about this.
Okay, let's hold then after we do this. I'll say my comments then are I would am I allowed to motion to approve as the chair, or does it have to be someone else actually doing it? Somebody else needs to. Okay. I will say my input is I would support it. We've already been doing it, and the idea of actually being able to add extra stops is only beneficial. So that's where I would stand. But does anyone want to make a motion and then a second?
I'll make a motion.
Second. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. All right. Motion carries. Thank you. We will. Is it now or would it be under? I guess it's not old business. Then other new business. Yeah. Then go ahead.
Okay, just a quick question. I know I missed a few meetings in the spring, and I feel like I probably missed this, but I wanted to make sure I knew the answer. At the beginning of this year, we were having to limit our routes due to lack of drivers. Are we fully back to normal?
We have 195 operators, which is the highest we've ever had in my 6 years I've been here. So it's great. It's great to have fully staffed. We're in August going to be doing what we call an internal shakeup scheduling change. So we will have around 40 operators on our extra board, which is, again, the most we've ever had before. So to answer your question, we are fully staffed in terms of operators.
I figured y'all probably already talked about that and I missed it, but I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I've been giving the board updates along the way. I don't know if I mentioned that last month or not, but yeah. And in addition to having 195 operators, we actually have another class of, I think, 6 or 7 starting next week. So our team has done an amazing job of recruiting and training and hiring. It's a huge team effort to be able to do that. So kudos to them. And then we've done so well and been so aggressive that we're actually moving, instead of doing training every 2 weeks, starting a new class, we're going to be doing it once a month. So,
Isaac, just want to commend the staff. Please pass that on to them. That's a remarkable turnaround. Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. And again, kudos to the staff. They put in a lot of hard work and like I said, all that goes into getting them into the door, getting them through training. Because again, we hire people that have driver's license and we train them to get their CDL. So they did a tremendous job.
What do you all feel change that contributed to the uptick of more drivers coming aboard?
Yeah, I would say over the last 5 years, obviously our salary structure has changed mightily. I think since I've started in the last 5 years, it's gone up 40%, the starting wage. I also think too, us not just taking, in the past, we made you get a CDL permit, and we changed that process to say, look, if you have a CDL, we will pay you to come in and train to get your CDL permit, all the way up to getting your driver's license. I think that's also been tremendous. And I think too, the unemployment rate has obviously creeped up. I think that has some kind of factor in our success as well. But I think the pay structure and how we're doing training has really helped. And our retention rate also has greatly improved. We're in the 70% this year. So that's also great news.
Isaac, not to get in the weeds necessarily, but if you could briefly educate all of us, what is in terms of the way you all view it, especially since our budget for the system is limited. We don't have any sort of a like taxpayer paying into it thing. It's a lot of grants and this and that. If we are to eventually move to where we don't, for example, say have any every route's 15 minutes, right? Like part of that is we would need more buses, but also more drivers. What is the kind of thought process behind, do you seek out drivers and, once they're trained, you realize you're at a certain point, you need to buy new buses? Do you procure the buses first? How do you deal with, where does the money come from? How do you, just a kind of 10,000 foot overview, can you educate us on what that looks like?
Yeah, anytime you're talking about expansion of service, you're increasing frequency or increasing routes, you have to start with where's the money at. So it has to be approved in the budget process by the council, and then you start planning for, okay, the next thing is we need buses. We need funding for buses, and then you hire and recruit the operators for those buses. So that's kind of the steps and the process and how that happens. The other interesting, I guess, part of this is that when you're talking about increasing service frequency, if you're going from a 30-minute service to a 15-minute service, you're essentially doubling the cost. So sometimes doubling the number of buses as well, but you are doubling the cost in terms of operators. So.
Any other comments from other commissioners? I will add one last thing of new business before we move to old business. Even though I've taken a break from my Ride the Routes, I do have, you all may or may not know, I have a nonprofit called Yes Knoxville. We deal with kind of urban planning issues is what we do. But last year we had something called a cat crawl, which was basically a bar crawl where we rode one of the bus routes, supported some local breweries. I was told that I could tell you this, so I'm not breaking any rules. But it's free. It's open to the public. Our next one is going to be next Thursday. So we will be riding Central. We will be gathering at the main station at, I believe, 5:45-ish to catch the 6:15. We'll be stopping along 2 or 3 different bars/breweries along Central, supporting them, and then educating people just generally on the CAT system, on transit, how to, as citizens, work towards getting a better transit system and why it's so important to support our local transit. So if you're free or anyone in the audience is free, we would love to have you. So please come and support your local bus system.
You said you do that every Thursday or once a month?
No,
Say,
God, no.
my
I wish.
goodness.
Oof, Lord, don't put that bad juju on me. I would be so tired. No, we had one last year. This is our second annual, but it happens to be next Thursday.
Okay,
So it'll be July 30th.
gotcha.
And that's sponsored by, yes, Knoxville.
Correct. Yeah. That's CAT. The only way CAT's involved is they have the buses that we'll be riding. But again, it's an event for us to kind of show people the importance of transit and why it matters so much to us as an organization and as a city, why we need to invest more in our public transit. So awesome. Thank you all. All right. With
Justin,
that,
I just have one more
Yeah,
quick
go ahead.
update that I did not include under my comments, and that is I wanted to congratulate UMAR Tennessee. We just promoted UMAR to our interim director of operations last week. So, yeah, congratulations to UMAR. He's got a dual role here of planning manager and interim director of operations. But big thank you and congratulations to UMAR.
yeah, congratulations, Umar. All right, we will move to old business. Do we have any old business?
No old business.
Okay. Any from the commissioners? Nope. Okay. All right. We will move to public comments. So I have 3 names on my list. What I'll do is I will read your name. You'll come up to the dais. I think it's turned on. If it is, okay, it is turned on. Basically, you'll have 5 minutes to speak. We will keep time for you when you come up. Give us your name and your address for us, and then we will tell you when your time begins. So first, I apologize if I pronounce this name wrong. I believe it is Braxton or Braxton Morris, perhaps. Again, your name and address, and we'll tell you when you can start. Yep, you're good.
Hello, my name is Braxton Morris. I'm at bamidall100@gmail.com or 865-973-1665. I would like to read a paper that I have prepared, and I would be happy to leave the Knoxville Transit Authority a copy. Can I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Hello, my name is Braxton Morris. I'm 14 years old and have been riding CAT for the last several months. From my experience riding CAT, I saw real people's commutes and felt a strong connection to my community. Most Knoxvillians don't use or have never used Knoxville area transit services. Driving a personal vehicle seems more seamless and private. Although car dependency comes with multiple problems, including millions of car accidents resulting in thousands of deaths occurring each year. This is seen as normalized and the price that we pay for car dependency. Furthermore, people who cannot afford a car are forced to use public transit, which can often be unreliable. In Knoxville Area Transit's Transit Development Plan corridor analysis, the city analyzed BRT, or bus rapid transit, but we have yet to see a BRT concept fully implemented. Knoxville keeps planning, but has not actually built efficient transit systems. A dedicated system will increase ridership in such a car-dependent Knoxville. A BRT system would increase ridership in such a car-dependent. Sorry, I already read that part. A BRT system would be incredibly beneficial to Route 11. I suggest CAT implement a quote, initial BRT service at first, defined by CAT as small improvements to existing bus services that includes an increase of frequency, shortened travel time, and the implementation of improved stops, quote, for purposes of developing a distinct mode of transportation. An initial BRT service over time could be upgraded to have intermediate transportation. intermediate service, including a dedicated bus or HOV lane during select peak hours to decrease bus travel times. A concept could implement an express 11 during peak hours while expanding the regular 11 to collect more passengers from neighborhoods bordering Kingston Pike. Servicing neighborhoods could be a massive way to increase ridership and encourage people to ride. People who have never ridden CAT services before could be introduced with friendly neighborhood stops that funnel into faster, more distinguished BRT service. Overall, I urge CAT to expand and actually execute BRT services in Knoxville, starting with the most ridden 11 route along Kingston Pike. Doing so would increase ridership and provide a way for more people to escape dangerous car-dependent Knoxville and shift to a more integrated pedestrian-friendly community. That's all I had to say. What I have scripted here, I did hear something that I would like to reply to when I was just sitting back there, if I could. So as I am 14 years old, I do qualify for I believe it's called the Youth Freedom Pass, and that CAT was working towards getting rid of an honor system. I believe that that would be going into the wrong direction. People are already discouraged from using CAT because of it's way more efficient to use a car, takes much less time.
1 minute.
But I believe with the honor system and some of my friends that I've talked to, because I am a minor and I do have friends, believe it or not, keeping it simple is the best way to go, in my opinion, and from what I've seen. And overall, that's all I have to say. Could I leave a copy of this with one of you?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We'll have, so Quinn can come and grab one.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you, Braxton. Sounds like you might want to apply for a job at CAT in the future.
That's no problem.
I love hearing from young people. That's awesome. Thank you for coming. All right, next we will move on to Elliot Lloyd. Same thing, Elliot. Give us your name, address, and you will have 5 minutes to speak.
Hello, I'm Elliot Lloyd. My address is 708 Morgan Street. I'd like to agree that I'd rather be moving towards less scanning at the stop. I think having free fare days would be beneficial. And you mentioned free fare Fridays. I think one thing that could help improve transportation for everybody in the city would be having free fares up until 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Especially when UT students come back in the fall. If it's not possible to get by then, the week without driving at the beginning of October could be another good day to roll that out. I'm also in favor of Route 1 getting a stop in South Knoxville. You mentioned Sevier, and it can be hard to get from cross that river as someone who's lived north of the river for several years now. In December 2023, TPO published their urban area transit study, which included a plan to connect Knoxville with Alcoa, Maryville, Farragut, West Knox County, and Oak Ridge via public transportation. I am strongly in favor of this plan. I have a friend in Maryville who can't afford a car. As a result, they are disconnected from their friends in Knoxville. Whenever they can get a ride, they come to Knoxville and support our local businesses. But that doesn't happen nearly as frequently as they would like. They are not alone. My mother, who lives in Oak Ridge, had a seizure last year. Luckily, she is doing better and hasn't had another since, but she was not allowed to drive for the next 6 months. The lack of public transportation meant she was isolated. When I visited her using a rideshare service, it cost over $80 to get there and back. There are many others with medical conditions that prevent people from driving. She is not alone. I last visited Farragut over a year ago. I would like to go more frequently, but the journey involves a 1.5-hour bus ride followed by a 1.5-hour walk, most of which had no sidewalk, just to get there. I am not alone. There are many people in this area who share experiences dealing with a lack of transportation access that leaves them isolated, and the public transportation improvements I saw in TPO's urban area transit study could connect them. The current standards for bus shelters doesn't protect the seats from rain all the time. They often don't protect them from sun either. The roofs are too small and the walls don't extend all the way to the roof. Many stops do not even have seating at all for fear they will be used by people not taking the bus. Instead of using this as justification to allow bus riders to sit on the ground or not at all with no protection from the elements, bus stops should be built to function as public amenities for all people who navigate the city without a car. They could feature seating specifically for riders and pedestrians, with pedestrian seating facing away from traffic, with a canopy that covers both seating and sidewalk as far as sidewalk buffers can allow. Some should also have public restrooms and water fountains at or near the stop. This would vastly increase the utility and accessibility of the stops. The current public transit system is a wonderful way for people to get downtown. In fact, I don't see a point in trying to take a car downtown when you could use the CAT instead. However, what if you're trying to go from Northgate Shopping Center to the Greyhound Station, or from South Knoxville to UT Medical? CAD could improve Knoxville residents' access to other neighborhoods by adding a ring route that circles current routes, intersecting them at vital points along the way. I'm not an urban planner, but I use public transit as my main method of transportation, and I have created a draft of what a route like this could look like. It uses many pre-existing stops, including ones that I mentioned previously, but would also add some areas that were previously inaccessible by public transit, such as on Prosser Road in northeast Knoxville and Paper Mill Road in the west.
1 minute remaining, sir.
I don't like the wraps on Route 1. It prevents me from seeing outside of the windows, and that being able to see out the windows is good for orientation. It helps me know where I am and gives me more freedom to feel comfortable knowing when it's time to pull that cord. Even the ones that have dots, I can kind of see through them, but I would prefer no wraps on the windows at all. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Elliot. Next, we will move to Mr. Sharwin Snelson. Again, give us your, just say your name, address, and then 5 minutes. Thank you.
Sharwin Snelson, 235 Carter Road. Okay. So, although I was told this is not necessarily the platform to voice the concerns, I'm going to voice them anyway, and hopefully we'll be given the correct information for the person to whom I need to direct these to. So we start off with some of the potential success. Having 195 operators, it's almost full capacity. I believe 200 is actually what they would consider full. So that's one step in the right direction. That's to be applauded. And I'm specifically talking about the lift. And I would be remiss if I did not address what I was told this week. Hopefully this is a rumor. If it is, let's squash it. And if it's not, let's dig into it. So as you talked about earlier about the access for everybody, the accessibility, which is beautiful, we are now coming up against a challenge, what I've been told, about the paratransit, the lift, cutting 12 routes from 24 down to 12. Okay? Once again, this is what I've been told. If this is a rumor, please someone let me know this is not true. I've been told some of the issues and some of the concerns with this is to reduce overtime, that's legit, no problem. And then I was told also that sometimes drivers have too much what I'm going to call downtime. They're hanging out, maybe they don't have pickups. So my question is, if this is true, what led to the changes? Number two, was there discussion with the public about these potential changes? And have you ever considered the potential negative impact of these changes? For example, we know that drivers have different shakeups and they'll pick according to their seniority. So someone potentially from the lift who might have more seniority than someone from the main line could move up and then bump that person out. That would cause some friction amongst the employees themselves. Not to mention, if this goes through and different people are brought on board to maybe help out with the lift, you're gonna have brand new people. And the quote that I'm gonna leave you with to understand to help reconsider this potential change, or at least clarify it for me, is this. You cannot expect a veteran performance with the rookie player. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Snilson. I don't see anyone else in the audience, so that, I guess, will conclude our public comments, and we will move on to setting our next meeting. It will be August 27th, so roughly a month from now, and with nothing else, we will adjourn.